Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's new English language learning program. Let's speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Today's lesson is the 31st lesson. Imagine that. We've been learning English together for 30 lessons. 10 lessons ago was lesson 21. Then came lesson... what? That's right, lesson 22. And how do we write 22? Do you remember? Yep, that's right again. We take the number 20, add a hyphen, and then add 2. It's the same with all the numbers from 20 to 100. You remember, don't you? So, after 29, what number comes next? That's right, 30. And what are the numbers between 30 and 40? 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. And how do we spell them? Correct! We take the number 30, add a hyphen, and then add a number between 1 and 9. Easy! Okay, now, back to lesson 31. Do you remember what we learned last week? Last week, we learned about the present simple. We learned some new verbs, and we learned that the spelling changes for the third person singular. Do you remember? Most verbs change in the third person singular by adding an S. If the verb ends in vowel plus Y, then we also add an S to the third person singular. If the verb ends in consonant plus Y, we change the Y to IES for the third person singular. If the verb ends in SS or X or CH or SH or O, we add ES to the end for the third person singular. Let's see that in a table, Mabel. Good. So you all remember how to change the verb when we use it for the third person singular in the present simple tense. Fab. Now today we're going to have another look at nouns. Nouns. Do you remember nouns? Of course you do. Nouns are words which tell us what something is. A cat, a dog, a hotel, a girl. These words are all nouns. Now today, we're going to look at countable and uncountable nouns. Now, do you remember and un? Good. What do and un mean? That's right, they mean one. We say, I've got a car, not I've got one car. We say, she's a woman, not she's one woman. We say, he wants an apple, not he wants one apple. Good. Now, when do we use and when do we use un? Correctamundo. We use un before a vowel and before a consonant. And which letters are the vowels? That's right. A, E, I, O, and U. And which letters are the consonants? That's right again. The consonants are B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Fantastic. Now, which do we use with these words? Or un? Apple, an apple. Banana, a banana. Cabbage, a cabbage. octopus, an octopus. Gnu, a gnu. Minute, a minute. Hour, an hour. University, a university. Hang on a moment. What happened there? An hour and a university? What? Now, hour and university are different. Listen to the way we say them. Hour, university, hour, university. When we say hour, we don't pronounce the H at the start of the word. So the word sounds like hour. So it sounds like the first letter is a vowel, so we use un, not a, with hour. With university, when we say the word, we pronounce it with a y as the first letter. We say university, not university. So it sounds like the first letter is a consonant. So we use a, not un, with university. Okay, OJ. So, back to the idea of countable and uncountable. Now, in English, nouns can be countable and uncountable. If we can use numbers with a noun, then it is countable. A car means one car, so we can count it. 3 children, 24 elephants. Countable nouns can be singular or plural. Look at the examples above. A car is singular, 3 children is plural, and 24 elephants is also plural. When we use singular nouns, we always need a or an. We say, my dad has a car, never my dad has car. We say, I have a job, never I have job. We say, he is a dentist, never he is dentist. Okay, so what about the uncountable nouns? Well, these are nouns where we can't use numbers. Things like water, money, and music. We can't say 3, 24 plus these nouns. A water, 3 money, 24 music. With uncountable nouns, there is only one form. There is no singular and plural with spelling changes. There is only one form. Money, the money. My money, your money. Some money, lots of money. So, we can't use a or an with uncountable nouns. We never say a money or a music or a water. Do you remember the nouns which are always plural? Do you remember the list from lesson 11? We learned that scissors, jeans, trousers, and glasses are always plural. If we want to make these nouns countable, we use a pair of scissors, or a pair of jeans, or 2 pairs of trousers, or 24 pairs of glasses. We can also make uncountable nouns countable if we use a piece of, or a bottle of, or a cup of. A piece of is countable. A bottle of is countable. A cup of is countable. So now we can use these to make uncountable nouns countable. Cheese is uncountable, but I can ask for a piece of cheese or a slice of cheese. Water is uncountable, but I can ask for a bottle of water or 2 glasses of water. Coffee is uncountable, but I can ask for 24 cups of coffee. Here are some other things we can say to make uncountable nouns countable. A bowl of, a piece of, a carton of, a bottle of, a can of, a bar of, a game of. So, rice is uncountable, but we can count a bowl of rice. Cheese is uncountable, but we can count a piece of cheese. Milk is uncountable, but we can count a carton of milk. Beer is uncountable, but we can count a bottle of beer. Soft drinks are uncountable, but we can count a can of Fanta, or Coke, or Pepsi. Soap is uncountable, but we can count bars of soap. Tennis is uncountable, but we can count a game of tennis. Right. Look at the following pictures and decide if the noun is countable or uncountable. If it's countable, we also have to decide if we need a or an. Cheese, sand, a car, a toothbrush, a computer, a telephone, water, blood, chocolate, coffee, a cup of coffee, spaghetti, a bowl of spaghetti. Right, let's practice making uncountable nouns countable. Use the words in the box to make the uncountable nouns countable. We use a, of. Here's a couple of examples. A carton of orange juice, a glass of milk, a bar of chocolate, a cup of tea, a loaf of bread, a bowl of soup, a sheet of paper, a slice of salami, a jar of honey, a can of tuna. Good. Now, there's a new word there, isn't there? That's right, loaf. A loaf of bread. Well, what's a loaf of bread? A loaf of bread is bread we buy in one piece. When we take the loaf of bread home, we slice it and eat it. But when we buy it, it is one loaf of bread. What else was in the list? Well, a cup of tea is easy. A bar of chocolate is also easy. A bar is the idea of a brick shape. So we could have a bar of soap, or a bar of chocolate, or a bar of gold. We know what a bowl is, so we know what a bowl of soup is, don't we? A sheet of paper is easy. We put sheets of paper into the printer. When we print something, we print onto sheets of paper. A slice of something. It could be salami, it could be bread. To slice is to cut something thinly. We can slice cheese, salami, bread, lots of things. If we have one cake and 6 people, I cut the cake into 6 slices. And what's a jar? Well, a jar is a glass container. Normally we store things like honey or jam in glass jars. And a can? Well, a can is a metal container. What comes in cans? Well, soft drinks normally come in cans, but we could have beans in a can or fish. There are lots of things we get in cans. When we have a can, there's something else we need too. That's right. If we want to open the can, what do we need? Correct. We need a can opener. Right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's lesson. I had fun. I hope you had fun too. Thanks for watching M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan. I'm not Popeye the Sailor Man, and I'm not Donald Duck. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'll see you next lesson for some more English. See you later. Bye. Hi, welcome once again to M5's new English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Well, how are you today? Fine? I hope so. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Right, here we go. Do you remember what number lesson this is? That's right, this is lesson 32. 32! Good Gilbert! We've been learning English together for 31 lessons. Amazing. So, last lesson was the 31st lesson, and this lesson is the 32nd. Do you remember how easy it is to make numbers from 20 to 100? Remember? We take the number 20 or 30 or 40, add a hyphen, and then add a number from 1 to 9. Our last lesson was number 31. This lesson is number 32. Now, what about the ordinal numbers? Do you remember the ordinal numbers? Those are the numbers which we use in lists or in sports results. Now, we know the ordinal numbers from 1 to 20, don't we? Of course we do. I'm sure you remember. There were a couple which were odd, weren't there? Do you remember? First, second, third, fifth. They're a bit different, aren't they? How do we spell them? Do you remember? Well, first is spelled F-I-R-S-T. Second is spelled S-E-C-O-N-D. Third is spelled T-H-I-R-D. And fifth is spelled F-I-F-T-H. Now, the other ordinal numbers are simpler. We just take the number and add th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Okay, we have to be careful with 9th because we drop the E from 9 before we add the th. 12th is also a bit tricky. The spelling's not so simple, but the rest of the numbers are very easy. Take the cardinal number and add th. So, let's check those ordinal numbers. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. Okay, now, we know how to count from 1 to 100. We know that when we get to 20, it becomes easier. There's a pattern that we can see, a logic we can use. Do you remember the pattern? That's right. We take 20, add a hyphen, and then add a number between 1 and 9. 21 is 21. 25 is 25. 29 is 29. Okay now, what about ordinal numbers beyond 20? Well, that's simple. We know the ordinal numbers from 1 to 9, don't we? Yes, of course we do. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th, 8th, 9th. Okay, so thinking logically, what do you think we do after 20th? That's right. We take 20 and add an ordinal number between 1 and 9. Simple. So 21 is a cardinal number. But what's the ordinal version? That's right. 21st. We take 20, add a hyphen, and add an ordinal number from 1 to 9. Easy. So, what are the ordinal numbers from 20 to 29? 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. And what comes next? That's right, 30th. Now, like 20th with 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th, 70th, 80th and 90th. We change the Y to I before we add the th, so they look like this. 30th, 40th, 50th, 60th, 70th, 80th, 90th. All right, fab, terrific, triffid, yucca, palm tree. So, now we know all the numbers from 0 to 100. Let's have another look at countable and uncountable nouns. Do you remember what we learned last lesson? You don't? Great lemurs! Well, let me remind you. We know what a noun is. A noun is a word which tells us what something is. A noun gives us information. A noun tells us what we're talking about. We could be talking about a car or a house or a horse. Car is a noun. House is a noun. And horse is also a noun. Nouns can be singular and plural. With most nouns, we change from singular to plural by adding an S. Car becomes cars. House becomes houses. Horse becomes horses. There are 5 spelling groups we can learn for singular nouns becoming plural. Group 1. We change the noun from singular to plural by adding an S. Group 2. We change the noun ending in S or SH or CH or X from singular to plural by adding ES. Group 3. These nouns end in Y. If the noun ends in vowel plus Y, we change the noun from singular to plural by adding S. If the noun ends in consonant plus Y, we change the noun from singular to plural by replacing the Y with IES. Group 4. These are nouns which end in F or FE. To make these nouns plural, we change the F or FE to VES. Group 5 are irregular. They don't use logic. All right. Now, there are also some nouns which are only plural. Trousers, jeans, shorts, glasses. If we want to talk about one of these, we have to use the phrase a pair of. A pair of jeans, a pair of shorts, a pair of glasses. When we use the phrase a pair of, it means that we can count these plural items. I have 3 pairs of glasses. He has 4 pairs of shorts. She has 6 pairs of jeans. Now, some nouns are countable. We can count them. We can say a banana, an orange, and everyone knows that we mean 1 banana and 1 orange. We can say 3 men, 12 donkeys, 35 manatees, and 17 cats. We can count all these things. Countable nouns have singular and plural forms. I see 1 man and I see 3 men. I see 1 donkey and I see 12 donkeys. I see 1 manatee and I see 35 manatees. I see 1 cat and I see 17 cats. Good. Now, other nouns are uncountable. Rice, coffee, water, beer, for example. These nouns only have one form. There is no singular and plural form. We can't count these nouns. We can't say or un or 1, 2, 3 with these. If we want to make an uncountable noun countable, we have to use of with it. So, if we're talking about coffee, we can make coffee countable by saying a cup of coffee. This way, the uncountable noun coffee becomes countable and we can order some coffee. Cheese is uncountable, but a piece of cheese or a slice of cheese is countable. Bread is uncountable, but a loaf of bread or a slice of bread is countable. Tennis is uncountable, but we can count a game of tennis. We can also make uncountable nouns countable by using measurements. Meat is uncountable, but a kilogram of meat is countable. Beer is uncountable, but a litre of beer is countable. When we talk about singular countable nouns, we normally use a or un. I've got a car. Alfredo's wife has got a skateboard. When we talk about plural countable nouns, we can't use a or un. A or un mean one. We use some to talk about plural countable nouns. I've got some bananas. Alfredo's wife has got some new shoes. We can also use some with uncountable nouns like water, rice and music. I need some water. There is some milk in the fridge. I listen to some music every day. So, if we have a singular countable noun, we use a or un. If the noun is plural and countable, we use a number. With countable plural nouns, we can also use some. If the noun is uncountable, we can't use a or un or a number. With uncountable nouns, we have to make it countable or we use some. What happens when we ask questions? Well, when we ask questions, we do exactly the same. If the noun is singular and countable, we use a or un. If the noun is plural and countable, we can use a number or we can use some. If the noun is uncountable, we can't use a or un or a number. We have to make the noun countable or use some. Okay, and now something different. Let's look at prepositions. Whee! Prepositions. Fab! Today, we're going to look at some prepositions of place. Now we can use these prepositions to talk about where something is. Today, we're going to learn 4 new prepositions: in, on, under, and next to. Look at the pictures to see what the prepositions mean. Now, look at the picture and listen as I tell you where things are. This is Doreen Benchfield's room. There is a dog on the bed. There is a cat under the bed. There is a hamster in the cage. Doreen is next to the window. Now, let's hear that again. This is Doreen Benchfield's room. There is a dog on the bed. There is a cat under the bed. There is a hamster in the cage. Doreen is next to the window. Well, that's all we have time for today. Today we learned the ordinal numbers from 20 to 100. We also learned about countable and uncountable nouns and learned 4 new prepositions. Fantastic! Great! Well done! Okay, time's up. So I'll see you next time for another English lesson on M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan, I'm not SpongeBob SquarePants, and I'm not Secret Squirrel or IR Baboon. I'll see you next time. Bye! Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's new English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. Now, do you remember the present simple tense? Of course you do. Silly question. Well, what do we remember about the present simple tense? Now, when do we use the present simple with verbs? Well, we use the present simple to talk about things that are true. We also use the present simple to talk about things which happen sometimes or all the time. Now, let's look at some words we use to talk about time. Words we use when we use the present simple. Have a look at the list of words we use to talk about when or how often we do things. Always, never, every day, every Saturday, sometimes, 3 times a week, every weekend, twice a year, usually, normally. Now, we know that we use the present simple to talk about things which don't change. A name, for example. My name's Gav Duncan. My name doesn't change. Normally, you keep the same name all your life. My parents called me Gav Duncan, and I will die as Gav Duncan. Some people do change their names, but most people don't. The same is true about my birthday. It doesn't change, so I use the present simple with my birthday. Christmas is the same. It's the same day every year, so we say Christmas Eve is the 24th of December, and Christmas Day is the 25th of December. Now, this is slightly different to Hungary. But in the UK, the 24th of December is Christmas Eve, the 25th of December is Christmas Day, and the 26th of December is Boxing Day. These dates don't change, so we can use the present simple with them. Now, do you remember the other thing we have to be careful of when we use the present simple? Yes, that's right. The present simple spelling changes for the third person singular. All the other parts of the verb use the infinitive, but the third person singular spelling changes. So, we say, I read, you read, we read, you read, and they read. But the third person singular changes to he reads, she reads, and it reads. Now, just like the spelling changes in singular nouns becoming plural nouns, with the present simple third person singular spelling change, we also have different groups. Most verbs add an S to the infinitive. Read becomes reads. Like becomes likes. If the verb ends in vowel plus Y, we add an S to the end for the third person singular form. But if the verb ends in consonant plus Y, then we change the Y to IES. If the verb ends in SS or X or CH or SH or O, Then we add es to the end of the infinitive to make the third person singular form. Magic. Enchanting. Now, today we're going to look at something different. Today we're going to look at the present continuous tense. What's that, Gav? Another tense? My God, are you mad? No, I'm not mad. The present continuous tense is a very useful tense, and we need to learn it. The present simple tense is useful, but, well, it's not enough to learn the present simple. We also need to learn other tenses, and the present continuous is the best place to start. We use the present continuous tense to talk about now, about what is happening now. If something is happening now, we need the present continuous tense. I'm talking to you. That sentence is the present continuous. I'm talking to you now, so I'm using the present continuous. I'm standing in front of a camera. Again, what tense is that? That's right, I'm using the present continuous tense. Why am I using the present continuous tense? Because I'm talking about what I'm doing now. Now, this minute. Okay, let's look at how we make the present continuous tense in English. Look at the sentences I said. I'm talking to you. I'm using the present continuous. I'm standing in front of a camera. Okay, so we can see that the present continuous is made up of two parts, I'm and ing. Now, what's the first part? Do you recognize it? We've seen it somewhere before. It's part of a verb we know. That's right, it's the verb to be. Do you remember the verb to be? Do you remember the form of the verb to be? Here's a quick reminder. So, that's the verb to be. Remember, all the forms are the same except for the first person singular and the third person singular. The first person singular form, I, is am. The third person singular form, he, she, it, is. Okay, so to make the present continuous, we first need the verb to be. In the example sentences, we can see the short form of the verb to be, I'm. I can also use the full version, I am. Now, what about the next part of the present continuous? Talking, using, standing. We add ing to the infinitive. So, to make the present continuous, we start with the verb to be in the correct form. I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you are, or they are. And then we add a verb with ing. So, I am talking, or I'm talking. You are watching TV, or you're watching TV. I am standing in a studio, or I'm standing in a studio. So, the present continuous isn't hard. We know the verb to be, and we can easily add ing to another verb, can't we? Of course we can. Great. Now, what do we have to be careful of in English? That's right. In English, we normally have to be careful with spelling. Remember, we have 5 groups of spelling when we change singular nouns into plural nouns. We also have spelling changes in the present simple tense. Do you remember? That's right. In the present simple tense, the third person singular changes, doesn't it? In the present simple, in the third person, we normally add an S. Sometimes we add ES, and sometimes we change the ending Y to IES. Well, we know about the spelling changes for the present simple. What about the spelling for the present continuous? What happens to the third person singular? Do we have to change the spelling for the third person singular in the present continuous tense? No! All we have to do is put the correct form of the verb to be and then add the ing version of the verb. Now, when we want to make the ing form of a verb, what do we have to be careful about? The first thing we have to be careful about is if the verb ends in E. If the verb ends in an E, like, for example, make, or drive, or bake, then we remove the E before we add ing. It's not making, it's making. It's not driving, it's driving. And it's not baking, it's baking. Okay, so we know the first area where we have to be careful. If the verb ends in E, we remove the E before adding ing. Good. Now, are there any other places we have to be careful? Yes, there's another rule we need to remember. If the verb ends in IE, then we replace the IE with YING. The baby's not lying on the bed, it's lying on the bed. The tree is not dying, it's dying. And what's the third rule we have to remember? That's right. If the verb ends in vowel plus consonant, the last letter is doubled. You're sitting down. He's swimming. We're running. Okay, so now we know where we have to be careful. Now, let's have a look at when we use the present continuous tense. We use the present continuous tense to talk about something which is happening now, right now, at this moment in time. We don't use the present continuous to talk about the past. And we don't use the present continuous to talk about things which are always true. We use the present continuous to talk about things which are happening now. Right. Well, we know how to make a positive sentence with the present continuous tense. What about making a negative sentence? Well, okay. What word do you think we need? What's the word we always use when we make negative sentences? Correct-a-doodle-doo. Not. When we want to make a present simple negative sentence, which word do we use? That's right, not. It's the same with the present continuous. We use not to make sentences negative. So, where do we put the word not? Well, where did we put the word not with have got? That's right. We put not in the middle, between have and got. I have got or I've got becomes I haven't got. It's the same with the present continuous. To make the negative, we put not between the verb to be and the ing form, like this. I'm sleeping becomes I'm not sleeping. You're talking becomes you're not talking. They're walking becomes they're not walking. Good. So, we can use the present continuous tense to talk about and give information about what people are doing now. Look at this list of verbs and then listen as I use the present continuous tense to make positive and negative sentences. I'm not eating and I'm not drinking. I'm talking. You're watching and listening. I'm not sitting, I'm standing. I'm not running, I'm not cooking. I'm not riding a skateboard. Attila is filming the English lesson. Csaba is recording the English lesson. Modi and Virag are monitoring the recording. Fab! Terrific! Magic beans! Magic torch! Jamie, where are you? Okay, that's all we have time for today. Today, we looked at the present simple tense again and learned a new tense, the present continuous. Next lesson, we'll look at how to make a question with the present continuous tense, and we'll look at the differences between the present simple and the present continuous. I had fun today. I hope you had fun too. I'm Gav Duncan. I'm not Charlie Brown, and I'm not Snoopy. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'll see you next lesson for some more English fun here on M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. See you next time. Bye. Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's new English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Okay, here we are, back in the studio, ready for another English lesson. Magic. How are you feeling today? Good? Good. Now, do you remember our last lesson? No. No? What do you mean, no, great goose liver? Well, let's think about our last lesson together. Last lesson, we looked at the present simple tense and we learned a new English tense, the present continuous tense. Do you remember now? Ah, good. So today, we're going to look at the present continuous tense again. Now, what do we know about the present continuous tense? When do we use it? Good, it's all coming back. We use the present continuous tense to talk about things which are happening now. We use this tense to tell people what is happening now. All right. So, we know when we use the present continuous. I'm talking to you. That's the present continuous. You're watching M5. That's the present continuous. We're learning English. That's the present continuous. And we're using this tense because we're talking about what is happening now. Brilliant, superb, magnifico. Now, how do we make the present continuous tense? Do you remember? Yes, that's right. We use the verb to be and then the ing form of a verb. So, if it's wet outside, I say it's raining. When is it raining? Now. I can see that the street is wet. I can see rain falling from the sky. I can feel the rain on my face. My feet are wet. I know that it's raining now, so I use the present continuous tense. So, let's look at the structure of the present continuous again. What do we need to start with? That's right, we need the verb to be. Do you remember the form of the verb to be? You don't. Why not? Okay, let me remind you. The verb to be is this. I am. You are. He, she, it is. We are. you are, and they are. So, that's the verb to be. We have to be careful with two things: the first person singular and the third person singular, with I and with he, she and it, because these forms are different. With all the other personal pronouns, the form is the same. It's are. You are, we are, they are. With the first person singular, I, the form is what? Correct. With the first person singular, with I, the form of the verb to be is I am. What about the short form? Well, the short form is I'm. All right. And what about the third person singular form? Well, the third person singular form for the verb to be is he is, she is, it is. The short form is he's, she's, and it's. So, we know we have to be careful with these two personal pronouns when we use the verb to be. We have to be careful with I and he, she, and it. The other personal pronouns are the same when we use the verb to be. All the other forms are. You are, we are, they are. Simple. All right, now, where were we? Ah, yes, I remember. We're learning the present continuous tense. Okay, we know that we use the verb to be and then we add the ing form of another verb. But there's something else we need to pay attention to, isn't there? Yes, we have to pay attention to the spelling of the ing form of the verb. Do you remember? Now, so far we've learned lots of different rules for spelling in English, haven't we? The first set of rules we learned was connected to changing nouns from singular into plural. Remember? When we change nouns from singular into plural, what do we normally add? That's right. We normally turn singular nouns into plural nouns by adding s. This is group 1. A bird, but 26 birds. A manatee, but 5 manatees. A squirrel on a skateboard, but 4 squirrels on 4 skateboards. Now, we also know that spelling in English isn't always that easy. Most nouns change from singular to plural by adding an s. But if the noun ends in s or sh or ch or x, then that's group 2. With nouns in group 2, we change from singular to plural by adding es. 1 boss, but 2 bosses. 1 fish, but 4 fishes. 1 watch, but 5 watches. 1 box, but 3 boxes. And don't forget, we also change potato and tomato from singular into plural by adding es. 1 potato, but 6 potatoes. 1 tomato, but 5 tomatoes. Great. Well, that's 2 groups. We also learned about group 3. Group 3 are nouns which end in y. Do you remember what a vowel is? That's right. Vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. If the noun ends in vowel plus y, we change the noun from singular to plural by adding s. 1 boy, but 4 boys. 1 monkey, but 3 monkeys. Now, we know which letters are vowels, but what about the other group of letters in the alphabet? What about the consonants? Which letters are the consonants? That's right, the consonants are B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. If the noun ends in consonant plus Y, we change the noun from singular to plural by replacing the Y with IES. One family, but two families. One puppy, but five puppies. Then we have group 4. Nouns in group 4 are nouns which end in F or FE. We change these nouns from singular to plural by replacing the F or FE with VES. One wife, but 6 wives. One knife, but 2 knives. Finally, there's group 5. Group 5 is irregular. There is no logic here. With nouns in group 5, we have to learn and remember them. One child, but 3 children. One woman, but 5 women. One man, but 5 men. One goose, but 4 geese. One tooth, but 4 teeth. One foot, but 3 feet. And my favorite, one sheep, but 12 sheep. Right, so we know about the spelling rules for nouns changing from singular to plural. What other spelling rules do we know? Well, what about the rules connected to the present simple tense? Do you remember? That's right. With the present simple tense, the third person singular, he, she, it, has a spelling change. With most verbs, we add S to the third person singular form in the present simple. I eat, you eat, but he eats. I sleep, you sleep, but she sleeps. Right. Well, we know how to change the spelling for the third person singular in the present simple tense. So, now we come back to the present continuous. We learned that we make the present continuous with the verb to be and the ing form of a verb. We know that we have to be careful with the first person singular and third person singular forms of the verb to be. They're different. I am or I'm. He is or he's. She is or she's. And it is or it's. Okay, the rest of the verb to be is easy. You are, we are, they are. Simple Simon Meta Pieman. Easy. Now, what about the spelling of the ing verb form? Now, when we want to make the ing form of a verb, what do we have to be careful about? The first thing we have to be careful about is if the verb ends in E. If the verb ends in an E, like, for example, make, or drive, or bake, then we remove the E before we add ing. It's not making, it's making. It's not driving, it's driving. And it's not baking, it's baking. Okay, so we know the first area where we have to be careful. If the verb ends in E, we remove the E before adding ing. Good. Now, are there any other places we have to be careful? Yes, there's another rule we need to remember. If the verb ends in IE, then we replace the IE with YING. The baby's not lying on the bed, it's lying on the bed. The tree is not dying, it's dying. And what's the third rule we have to remember? That's right. If the verb ends in vowel plus consonant, the last letter is doubled. You're sitting down. He's swimming. We're running. Right. Well, now let's look at the pictures and decide what the people are doing. He's cooking. She's watching TV. They're playing football. They're playing basketball. They're eating. She's studying. It's sleeping. She's dancing. He's riding a motorbike. She's driving. They're swimming. They're watching a film. He's singing. She's playing the guitar. They're flying. Great, fab, terrific. So now we know when to use the present continuous and how to make a sentence with the present continuous. Fantastic. Well, that's all we have time for today. I had fun today. I hope you had fun too. I'll see you next lesson for more English language fun on M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan. I'm not Napoleon. See you next lesson. See you later. Bye. Hi, welcome once again to M5's new English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. So, welcome to lesson 35. My God, good groaning giblets. Lesson 35? Phew. Okay, so let's get stuck in to lesson 35. Now, what did we learn in our last lesson together? I know you know. That's right. Correct-a-doodle-doo. It was a lesson about the present continuous tense, wasn't it? Yes. Last lesson, we looked at the present continuous, when we use it and how we make it. Let's have a quick think about that again. We use the present continuous when we're talking about something which is happening now. I'm talking to you, for example. You're watching me on the TV. Chobber is recording the sound for the TV program, and Otti is filming me. So all of these things are happening now, and we use the present continuous to talk about things which are happening now. Now, what about the form of the present continuous? How do we make the present continuous? Well, it's simple. The present continuous is the verb to be plus the ing form of a verb. I'm talking, you're running, he's watching TV, for example. Simple, isn't it? The only two places where we have to be careful are where? That's right. The first place we have to be careful is with the verb to be. The first person singular and the third person singular forms of the verb to be are different. All the other forms are the same. Are. You are, we are, you are, and they are. But the first person singular is I am. And the third person singular is he, she, it is. Okay, we know that we normally use the short version. So, I'm, you're, he's, she's, it's, we're, you're, and they're. Good. Now, what about the other area where we have to be careful? Correctamundo. We have to be a little bit careful with the spelling of the ing form. Now, we know about English spelling changes for nouns in the plural, and we know about changing the spelling for the third person singular in the present simple. And this week, we learned we have to be careful if the verb ends in E. If the verb ends in an E, like, for example, make or drive or bake, then we remove the E before we add ing. It's not making, it's making. It's not driving, it's driving. And it's not baking, it's baking. Okay, so we know the first area where we have to be careful. If the verb ends in E, we remove the E before adding ing. Good. Now, are there any other places we have to be careful? Yes, there's another rule we need to remember. If the verb ends in IE, then we replace the IE with YING. The baby's not lying on the bed, it's lying on the bed. The tree is not dying, it's dying. And what's the third rule we have to remember? That's right. If the verb ends in vowel plus consonant, the last letter is doubled. You're sitting down. He's swimming. We're running. So we know how to make and use the present continuous tense in the positive. We also learned how to make negative sentences with the present continuous. Do you remember the word we need? What's the word we always use when we make negative sentences? Correct-a-doodle-doo. Not. When we want to make a present simple negative sentence, which word do we use? That's right, not. It's the same with the present continuous. We use not to make sentences negative. So, where do we put the word not? Well, where did we put the word not with have got? That's right, we put not in the middle, between have and got. I have got or I've got becomes I haven't got. It's the same with the present continuous. To make the negative, we put not between the verb to be and the ing form, like this. I'm sleeping becomes I'm not sleeping. You're talking becomes you're not talking. They're walking becomes they're not walking. Now that we know how to make positive and negative sentences with the present continuous tense, let's change these positive sentences into negative sentences and change the negative sentences into positive sentences. So, for example, I am sleeping becomes I am not sleeping or I'm not sleeping. They're playing tennis becomes they're not playing tennis. I'm not talking becomes I'm talking. I'm flying. You're drinking champagne. He's driving a Porsche. She's riding a Vespa. We're having fun. The dog's sleeping. You're watching a good film. They're fixing the road. I'm not sitting down. We're not running. She's not playing the trombone. You're not listening to Robert Plant. You're not dancing. He's not playing squash. The computer's not working. They're not waiting for a bus. So, I'm not flying. You're not drinking champagne. He's not driving a Porsche. She's not riding a Vespa. We're not having fun. The dog's not sleeping. You are not watching a good film. They're not fixing the road. I'm sitting down. We're running. She's playing the trombone. You're listening to Robert Plant. You're dancing. He's playing squash. The computer's working. They're waiting for a bus. Fab. Great. Groovy gravy, baby. So, what's next? You know, you all know. We learned the positive version. We learned the negative version. So, that's right. By the toenails of the god of turtles and tortoises, now we need the question. Marvelous, splendid, top hole, top banana. Right, questions. How do we form questions? You know, you all know. When we form a question in the present simple tense, what do we do? Do you remember? Brilliant. We have to change the word order. Well done. Who said it first? Who is that? It's Ildi from Mishkots. Well done, Ildi. Correct. We have to change the word order. I am ugly is a positive sentence. If we change the word order and add a question mark at the end, we make a question. I am ugly becomes am I ugly? Sorted. Okay, so if we change the word order when we make a question with the present simple tense, what do you think we do when we want to make a question with the present continuous tense? Yes, we have to change the word order. I am talking changes to am I talking? It's time for Mabel. Mabel the table. I'm running. You're running. He's running. She's running. It's running. We're running. You're running. They're running. So, that's the positive. What about the negative? Mabel, I'm not running. You're not running, or you aren't running. He's not running, or he isn't running. She's not running, or she isn't running. It's not running, or it isn't running. We're not running, or we aren't running. You're not running, or you aren't running. They're not running, or they aren't running. Phew! And so, here we are, at the point of no return. Mabel, please, the question table. Am I running? Are you running? Is he running? Is she running? Is it running? Are we running? Are you running? Are they running? So, that's the question form. Let's look at the question form again. To make the question form in the present continuous tense, we use the correct part of the verb to be, am, is, or are. Then we add the subject, I, you, he, Alfredo, Dave Squid, Jenny Wren, and then the ing form of the verb. So, let's see a couple of examples. Are you running this evening? Am I working today? Where is he going? What is Alfredo doing? Why is Dave Squid sleeping? Is Jenny Wren staying in a hotel? Now, did you see how we combined the present continuous with those question words? Good, eh? No, that's better than good. That's great. So, we can ask a question with the present continuous, like, are you working? Good. And we can also use question words with the present continuous. Excellent. We're learning English. Fantastic. Now, let's complete the following sentences together. Look at the example first. Is Sarah Sandwich working today? Now, why do we change the verb to be into is? Because we're asking a question about Sarah Sandwich. Sarah Sandwich is the third person singular. Sarah Sandwich is she. And what is the correct form of the verb to be for the third person singular? That's right, is. Now, what comes next? Well, next is the subject, Sarah Sandwich. And then, well, now we need the ing form of the verb to work, working. And we finish with today and a question mark. Remember that the subject goes between is, are and the ing form of the verb. It's always is Sarah Sandwich working, never is working Sarah Sandwich. Good. Now, let's complete the rest of the questions. Right on. So let's listen to the completed sentences. What are you doing? Where are the police running? What is he watching on TV? Are you listening to me? What are we listening to? Where are your friends going? Is the tram coming? What are the children playing? Okay, excellent, far out, great, magic and groovy. Well, that's all the time we have today. Another English lesson finishes. Thanks for watching M5's new English language learning program, Let's Speak English. Today, we looked at the present continuous tense and practiced making positive and negative sentences. Then we practiced making questions with the present continuous. I'm Gav Duncan. I'm not Harrison Ford, and I'm not Chewbacca or George Lucas. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'll see you next lesson for some more English fun. See you later. Bye.